Man, oh man. Got quite a bit of things to talk about this week, guys. Made some more progress on the Ducati Grom. You can see I still got the engine in the bike. See, I actually got some hose ends on the radiators now. And then, most importantly, you can see that I got the wheels back. So before I start blabbering about these wheels, I know everyone is going to ask me, because I have posted a few shorts of the wheels on my YouTube and a few reels on Instagram, and everyone was asking what this color is. So this is actually a Cerakote C148, which is burnt bronze. This is a high temp burnt bronze. The reason why I went high temp, even though it wasn't required on the wheels, is because I also got the exhaust coated the same color. Show you this. Exhaust came out great. But I wanted the exhaust and the wheels to match. This color has always been one of my favorite colors, and it goes really good with the red. Sorry, I got false light right now, so I really can't show you how the red titanium pops with this, because you really need to see it in the sunlight to, you know, take in all of the abstractness between these colors. So it's just the perfect amount of billet, just the perfect amount of red, and then just the perfect amount of Cerakote. I'm very happy with how these wheels turned out. They should look very good on the Grom. I cannot wait to get them mounted. Unfortunately, I can't put tires on them right now because there is a five-day cure process with the Cerakote, the C series at least, because you don't bake these. This is like an air cure. So I'm on day 4. So hopefully Monday or Tuesday I should have wheels on them, and then I can actually mount them up on the bike. If you look up here, got another piece of billet. It was only a matter of time before you know, the billet started getting involved with this build. Well, it has a bit, but this is like one of the main pieces right here. So I want to shout out FinFab for getting this pan made for me. But this is the new oil pan for the Ducati Grom. This is much, much, much more low profile than was originally on the bike. And just for reference, let me put it up here, because I want to show you how big of a difference it is between these two pans. Sorry, I got crap like all over the place because I'm trying to do so much stuff all at once. But let me grab the stock pan, which is right here. And then you can look at it side by side and you can see the difference. So, stock Panigale 11.99 pan. New billet pan from FinFab up here in Michigan. And you can see why I had to go to a billet pan, because that almost was out of here. It was just I was playing it a bit crazy with this stock pan. It was a little bit too low for my liking. Although, granted, I do need to put a stiffer rear spring on the back of the bike. I have oh, actually a piece of carbon too. I just got this piece in too, but not to get off subject. But I have the highest spring rate that I can get from the Racing Bros rear shock, but I think they have one that's slightly higher. So I might see if I can either change to that or put like a preload spacer in there to stiffen things up. Because that was part of the reason why this would bottom out too, because the suspension just wasn't as stiff as I needed it. But it definitely will help by having this lower profile pan. And I know a lot of people are going to ask, bro, with this pan being so much smaller, are you even going to be able to have the same oil volume in it? Well, yeah, I'll show you why. So you can see on this stock Ducati pan, you see how it tapers like crazy? See that real strong taper in there? This is one of the big differences between these two pans. Now the billet one it's a lot shorter, but it's also a lot wider. So that's how we were able to get the volume that we took out of the pan by getting rid of some of that sump. I think it's approximately like 2 3/4 to 3 inches, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then we were able to add, you know, a lot more open space where it would normally be a taper. So, and this is just one of those things. This is a custom build. everyone is always looking to have the stars aligned on these build, and that's just the furthest thing from what you'll ever be able to do on a custom build. I mean, this is it's a Ducati 1199 and a Grom, for Christ's sakes. I mean, I think that pan was executed perfectly. I actually got to go pick up a drain bolt for it too, and then once I get the engine out of the bike, I'll test fit it, because I also have to shorten the plastic sump that bolts up to the bottom of the engine. So I have to shorten it by the amount that we shorten the pan, which I said is like you know, somewhere in the neighborhood of like 2 3/4 to 3 inches. It's been so long since I looked at it, I completely forgot, so I'll have to double check that. So I also got the order in from BMRS. Sorry, let me cover up my address. But BMRS, this is a company I deal with. I use them primarily on all of my projects. The reason why I like using this stuff, because they sell a really good flexible hose. And mind you, this is a 1-inch ID-16 hose, and look how much I'm able to bend this without it actually collapsing on itself. Part of the reason for that is because of this convoluted tubing. It almost looks like a telephone wire. I guess that's a good way to put it. But this stuff is very easy to use, very easy to assemble. You don't need any special tools. And yeah, I've used it on like my past car projects and stuff. And this is also going on the 5,000 horsepower Billet Hemi twin turbo truck that I'm building, that some of you guys know about on my page. But this stuff is very good for these bike projects because it's super flexible. And yeah, sometimes you aren't able to get very tight radius AN fittings to make, you know, a particular band that you might need. But having this hose flexibility definitely helps a ton. And I can only show this so much because I got one hand right now. But this stuff is, I definitely recommend it. Check it out. Brown and Miller Race Solutions. Very high quality stuff. It's not cheap, but once again, that's just one of those areas where you just spend the money and save yourself the headache, because some of these AN lines it's like trying to bend concrete because of just how cheap the rubber is. And you know, that stuff is safe for methanol, ethanol, anything you want to put in here, like so. but yeah, I pretty much got all my bends worked out. These AN fittings, these will be getting shipped off tomorrow to get re-anodized. I was going to do a combination of black and red, but I just don't want to be that guy having that company, you know, do like 2 pieces in red for me and then the rest black. Because, you know, I just try to stay cognizant of, you know, a lot of these companies that do the anodizing, they like doing this stuff in batches. So I think I'm going to just do everything in black and just keep it nice and simple. Because I want to try to make this look as incognito as possible. And, you know, the more stuff that I can paint black, the easier it would be to, you know, try to keep everything looking somewhat inconspicuous. But I will also be modifying this. I'm not sure if I talked about this in my last video, but I needed a good way to put a rear speed sensor on the bike, because I really haven't had a speedometer other than the GPS speedometer that's built into my PDM, which is the electrical system on my bike. So it uses a phone app to tell me the speed, but that's really not an accurate method to do like traction control or do any type of power management integration. So I need to have an actual wheel speed pickup in order to make that stuff work. And a way that I'm going to do that is, let me go over here. This is the sensor that I'm using. I got this sensor from DigiKey. This is basically a ferrous metal Hall effect sensor. It's a 3-wire sensor, and it uses this shielded cable up to the ECU to send a signal. And basically how this is going to work is, because on these Grom wheels, they don't really have room for a tone wheel. So let me turn this around really quick so you can see. I got to be careful with these wheels because, like I said, they're still curing. So the only really thing that I would be able to pick up from a rotational standpoint are these uh, brake rotor bolts. So these are steel bolts, and this sensor, how the way the sensor works, is able to pick up when it has, you know, when there's like steel riding past it or any type of ferrous metal. So if this is in close enough vicinity, it would be able to see each one of these bolts passing by as it goes through its rotation. I didn't have a very good place to mount the sensor, so I had to, you know, try to come up with something that would be a little low key, and then also something that would be able to get a very good pickup of these bolt heads right here. Because normally on like a regular sport bike, there would be like a tone wheel. The Grom actually has one, but it's on the front wheel. That really serves no purpose. Well, I guess it does, because you typically need 2 tone wheels for a traction control setup, because it basically takes the wheel slip differential between each wheels and it compares them, and if they don't match up, that's how the ECU knows that the wheel is slipping in the rear. But for my application, since I don't have a ABS Grom, and then also since I have 3-piece wheels, it's not compatible with a VSS sensor or a tone wheel speed pickup in the front wheel, because these are aftermarket wheels. So I noticed on this Chimera Engineering brake caliper bracket, this had a very nice open space right here. And if the wheels were mounted up, I could show you. But basically, since this mounts central to the axle, you can see this little window. All those little bolt heads rotate past this opening in this brake caliper bracket. So I thought that would probably be like a very good place to put that threaded Hall effect sensor. So the only thing I got to do to modify this to be able to make the sensor mount up is I got to get a piece of plate aluminum, because this is a billet aluminum bracket, and I'll end up welding that piece of aluminum flat stock across this window right here. I drill a hole in it, and then I'll have a way to insert the sensor in there, which is double nutted. It's a nut on each side. So you basically, get the sensor within 50 thousandths. I think that's like the common measurement for the Hall effect sensor for the wheel speed. You get it set 50 thousandths away from these bolt heads, and then you snug everything down, and we should be good to go. So this is a pretty cheap, easy solution to get a rear powered wheel speed sensor on the rear, so I can actually have real world speed data. Sorry, that was that was a mouthful. I hope I didn't confuse anybody with that, but that's something that I've been very much so looking forward to integrating on this project. Another thing I gotta work on, it's like little small, like odds and ends. Like, where is that carbon piece? This right here. So I picked up a carbon front sprocket cover. This basically slips in this area to cover the front sprocket. Makes things look a lot cleaner. It tucks up real nice against this this clutch slave cylinder. So because this thing sticks out so far, I got to slightly move my shift linkage, this heim joint right here. You can see I had a attachment right here, so I got to move it slightly forward because this piece does bulge out towards the back. So I gotta adjust that. Also made a coolant recovery tank that will mount perfectly in this area. Luckily, the engine does have some pretty good threaded bosses to use as a mounting point. It's pretty crazy too, because I'm not sure if you guys know, but these engines, this 1199 engine in the stock factory form in a Panigale 1199 chassis, or I don't even know if I could call it a chassis because it actually doesn't have one. It uses the engine as a structural member. So these 3 bosses right here, these are actually where the top of the shock mounts to, because the shock or coilover that it uses for the rear suspension, it mounts straight to the engine casing. So that's just a testament of how freaking strong this engine casting is. So I'm just more so repurposing that to mount a coolant overflow tank, because last year I didn't have one on the bike, and that's just a really crappy thing not to have, because if it starts overheating, there's a good chance you could leak coolant on the ground, and if that gets under the tire, that's never a good thing. No matter what type of racing or riding you were doing, whether it's in a car, a bike, anything, that coolant is nasty stuff, is oily, and yeah, won't be a good day. So, but yeah, I'm still steadily chipping away at this thing. I'm just glad I got the wheels back, got the pan back. The pan I will try to put on when I get the engine back out of the bike, because I don't have wheels on it or anything, and it would just be a pain to try to install this right now. So, but yeah, I'd say maybe about 2 weeks or so, this thing should be back on the road. Finally dropping it off for powder coat, more than likely this upcoming Wednesday. Because like I said, it's just, as I keep chipping away at this, I keep finding little things that need to be slightly tweaked, or something that I just want to execute cleaner. But yeah, got a lot of the modifications done on the radiator. Luckily, I was able to sneak a radiator cap right here. I really didn't want to put this in an area where it would be a pain in the ass to bleed the system. Because originally I was thinking about putting it on the back side of the radiators. And before anyone asks, I do have to modify this panel a little bit to get it to clip in here. So that's the only reason why that isn't clipped on right now. So I'm going to do that when I finish making this video. But I ended up putting the cap right here because it was a nice straight shot to feel the system. And then also this boring cap right here won't be like this for long, because I'm getting a Ducati Billet red anodized cap, which should be like a nice little beauty feature up here. Get a little bit of red up in this area, because it is just kind of bland right now. These bolts are getting swapped out for some red aluminum bolts, which should be a nice little touch. And yeah, this is this cooling system. I'm glad I'm getting this knocked out, because this was the one thing I was worried about, especially when dealing with these AN fittings. But yeah, this thing, I cannot wait to see it together. I love how the wheels match the engine covers perfectly too, because I was going to take those covers off and have them redone, but as soon as I put the wheel up to it, it just matched perfectly. It's like that's one less thing that I have to do. One less thing that I have to wait for. So I got to snip these tabs off of the pre-existing 300 CBR radiators that I had on there last year. The only reason I'm using these aluminum tabs is because they are already meant to work with these CBR 300 fans. I'll be putting a fan on each backside of the vertical radiators. So I got just enough room to mount those on the inside of the plastics to keep it nice and clean. Like I said, those will be getting painted. I just got the Eastwood paint in today. And no, it does not use regular black paint. This is actually a radiator paint specifically formulated to paint a radiator black. I'm not sure exactly what the difference is as far as the actual paint properties, but I just, I would just play it safe and go with something that's already designed for what I want to do. Because once those are black, it should look a lot more sleeperish, I guess you could say. So, but yeah, this is coming out pretty good. I might try to pull the engine tonight, because I really want to get that pan on there. I want to see how this thing looks with that billet pan. That's probably like the thing that I'm most excited for. But show you what the exhaust looks like too. This is the crossover for the exhaust. I also got this done in burnt bronze. You can see this came out great. Really curious to see what type of like heat retention this coating will add, because the Cerakote is supposed to be pretty good with cutting down on the heat dissipation. So, and then last but not least, the exhaust that I showed you guys beginning of the video. Want to shout out Brett over at FinFab once again. He got the titanium V-band welded on for me. I love the mashup of colors with the exhaust. It's like that nice subtle burnt bronze, and then this black and carbon just flows so good with the rest of the bike. So it's just It's so color coordinated. Check out that new rotor I got on there. I got one for the front as well. Should be able to finally assemble the wheels tomorrow. I got one more day of cure time for those. But yeah, I just wanted to touch base with you guys. Had a few people asking me questions. A lot of people have been wondering what's going on with the Turbo YZ as well too. That I'm trying to get back together, but unfortunately there's like a huge back order on transmission gears, and it's kind of like an indefinite ETA on some of the gears that I need to get that back together. But I do have a new piston for it. Got the new case for it. Bunch of stuff. I already talked to who is it, Crankworks, about getting a new thicker custom billet rod, because I already found the power limit of their off-the-shelf billet one, but I'll save that for another video. But I don't know, let me know what you guys think of the wheels. Let me show you these one more time, because I never get tired of looking at them. I just love how these turned out. Sorry, I'm trying to put it down nice and gentle so I don't chip anything, but man, that looks sweet. I am so happy with the way these turned out. But yeah, guys, subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't already. Go follow the Instagram. Go follow the TikTok. Follow me on Facebook as well too. I'll leave all the links in the description. And please like, comment, and subscribe, because it helps me. Like, comment, and subscribe. It's much appreciated. Let me know what you think in the comments. And then until next time, peace.